Hello, welcome to Jason Cabinet Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cabinet. I'm also CEO and founder of Cabinet HR. At Cabinet HR, we deliver HR to companies 49 for your people with our AI automated platform while combining you with our actual HR business partner. At Cabinet HR, we're also hosting Cabinet HR Seattle's Got Tech for the Seattle Tech event. We're going to have 16 tech startups demoing what they're building. Think of it as like a tech trade startup show and a keynote by Kevin Goldsmith. Our guest today is AJ. AJ, thanks for being here today.
Pleasure.
So AJ, I always try to start with like a softball question. Can you tell us like how you take care of yourself physically, mentally, or what do you do for fun?
Yeah, I think that's a very relevant question, particularly for founders, because we carry a lot of stress. In my particular case, I think my escape is typically writing and reading philosophy. So, kind of putting everything on a paper and getting a little bit of mental clarity. Beyond that, exercise, of course, spending quality time with the ones that you love, and also good vitamins and good nutrition and good sleep.
So philosophy, like I'm a big fan of philosophy. Like all the class I took in college, I have a master's. All the class I took in college, the only stuff I kept was I took a freshman philosophy class. That's the only book and stuff I take for all my classes I took. I just love philosophy. That's the mental things you have to do. What if this? What if that? I just love philosophy. You have any favorite philosophers?
I do, yeah. So my utmost favorite would be Epictetus, and beyond that, I would say the Stoics.
Yeah, it's a crazy like Stoics. What's the name of the emperor Marcus? I think Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius, yeah.
Of course, I know ideas too, but I read it on I saw on YouTube like all these journals was not meant for public consumption. Like he just meant for his own personal journals,
Right.
and then after death, like he became like even more famous than he is.
Yeah, the meditations of Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are very good. I strongly recommend everybody.
and like what 1,000 years later, they're still relevant.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think not only with him, right? Like I think a lot of those philosophers that were very forward thinking for their time. And surprisingly enough, the structure of society as well as the problems that they faced back then are pretty similar to the ones that we have today.
So that's gonna bring the point right. So like we're both kind of tech, right? Obviously, tech has gotten better and better. Like for me, the first tech was like when they started the fire, then the spears, that kind of stuff. So tech, has gotten more and more better. Or that's not the right way to say it. It has gotten better over the years, right? But have we as humans actually got more smarter? Or do you think like the intelligence level of us today is like the same as back in the Roman Empire days or back like the prehistoric days? I don't think we've like, really gotten smarter.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Depends on how we measure smarter. If we measure smarter by having more free time as a society to dedicate to the activities that we want, probably not. If we're going to measure it in terms of IQ, I don't think there's any benchmark that we can reference. And then it also depends on what we consider tech, right? Because there's a very plausible argument that the pyramids of Egypt, for example, they were not built with the tech that they claim it was built.
I mean, that's a whole different rabbit hole right there, right? Because like even now, we can't figure out how they did it right. But I'll say did it right. And the people say it was the slave labor, hundreds of thousands of like slave labor did it right. But still, those bricks are like, I mean, they're pretty big, right? I mean, like, I don't know. Then of course, did some alien technology do it? Like, how do they do this? Or maybe it's like some lost tech, right?
Yeah, I don't have the answer for that. But one thing that it's a crucial data point is they did interview some of the most advanced construction companies in the world as of today. And some of them, even with their best tech, they probably would not be able to cut and assemble to that level of precision that the pyramids were done back in their day.
And when people think of pyramids, they think just Egypt, right? But there's pyramids like down in South America, Sudan, Ethiopia, there's pyramids all over the world, right? But we just think of Egypt, of course, right? And all of them like this precision level engineering.
Right, and allegedly even in Antarctica.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's some, strange stuff, right? And like, where like, and another thing, like, what tech was lost? Like, what's that library? I think Alexandria Library. All the information was lost from the library fire. What has been lost in time, right?
Yeah, well, some of it might be lost, some of it may be sitting, some places like the Vatican.
Yeah, you're right, right, yeah, right. And then like the hieroglyphics on the Egyptian hieroglyphs, like we think we know what it means, but maybe it doesn't, you know. And just like us, all the stuff is like in the cloud of stuff. So let's suppose like there was a nuclear war, not on plastic, there's no nuclear war, but like the people, everything that's lost to time, right? 100 years in the future, we're building stuff 100 years in the future. If they're gone, they have no idea how we built it either, you know.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, as far as I know, there are already some services that you can, for the purposes of disaster recovery and similar things, you can send your information out into space.
That's crazy. So here's a question for you. I always ask everyone this question, right? So what you would rather do, right? So you have three options: stay here in the present, or go 500 years in the future, or when you pick, you have to stay there for the rest of your life, right? Stay here in the present, or go have 500 years in the future, or 500 years in the past.
You only get to pick one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I would probably start where I'm at. You know, just
Everyone picks that answer, including me. Yeah.
yeah, just following like the sort of Buddhist philosophy of enjoy the present.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, because some people like would say, "Hey, go." Some people say go in the future, right? But like, you might go 5 years in the future. It might be a sign we're all on Mars, so like there might be no Earth, right?
You don't know.
Yeah.
There's no way to know.
And personally, I'm not built to go 5 years in the past, right? All the black plague, all the stuff going on. I'm not built for that, right? No electricity, no hot water. Yeah, I wouldn't make it, right?
Right.
Yeah, everyone I know has picked that in the present, right? Maybe one or two pick the future just as adventurous. Yeah, well, what if all the scientific breakthroughs come through, whatever? But what if it doesn't, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is private equity?
Uh, well, the definitions vary greatly of what private equity means, but at the end of the day, what private equity means is private capital, and it gets deployed, following private rules. An easy way to think about it, and a simple way to think about it, would be um, you have a family office with a few millions. You meet a good operator that invests into businesses, and collectively you decide to have a business venture whereby you provide the capital and the operator runs the businesses. That technically classifies as private equity.
Is there like a difference between venture capital and private equity? Like is private equity like much more money, or what's the difference?
Yeah, there's a huge difference between the two. So typically, private equity tends to go into businesses that are somewhat already established, and they have certain degree of traction. They also tend to have much higher equity stakes than venture capital. And venture capital tends to come in very early stages with much higher risk and much lower piece of the equity. They also allegedly venture capital is more hands off on the business that they invest versus private equity is more hands on.
So as private equity, I know a lot of founders in early stage startups they go after venture capital. Is private equity like family offices a good method for them to try to raise money too, or that's like later down the road?
That's a great question. And I think it depends on what kind of business you want to build, right? So if you want to build a subscription software model type business, perhaps venture capital is the right way to go. If you're trying to build a chain of gyms that is going to turn into a very good cash flow producing business, but the scalability is limited, and you want to not be constantly be pushed for growth, but as opposed to profitability, private equity might be a better route. So, in short, I would say if you want cash flowing businesses, which is the focus of private equity is better. If you just want to go grow as fast as you can, as quickly as you can, by any means that you are able to get, then venture capital.
So it's not like the last 2 years, the fundraising environment has not been the best, right? Like last 2 years, it's like, wait 6 more months, they're gonna get better, but it's not getting better, right? Like last year, people told me, hey, don't raise funds now. It doesn't matter who wins the presidency. Come January, February, March, the money's gonna start flowing. It sounds like the money's not flowing, right? So what's your prediction like? Of course, he's here on Pittsburgh, all these crunch places, all this dry powder out there. The money's there for them to spend, but no one's like investing it, right? So what's your future take on what's going